Hello everyone, Recurse here, and today guys I'm gonna review one of the two last Titan set I have to review in fact, and which are the two of these are vehicles from the which belongs to the good guys. But first of all I'm gonna do a little comparison side because I totally forget to do that with my precedent two reviews, of the two other real Titans, which are not vehicles but the two bad guys, Von Nebula and Water of course. Oh, excuse me, just have to pause him. So really quick, just to make a little size comparison, and then of course I will review the Furno Bike, yes, because that's the set I'm gonna review today. So here is the little comparison size with Furno, as you can see. Oh, excuse me, right here. And now for the real review of today, guys. So here's a box, so of course a big rectangular shaped box. Well, it's really quite big, and really when you look at the parts we got in this set, it's maybe too big, but that's not really my problem. So on the front side, of course, I got Hero Factories, the Edge logo in orange because the orange is one of the colors of the Furno Bike color scheme. The Furno Bike here, of course, plus William Furno on it. From the makers of Bionicle Characters logos, actual connection, set numbers, and the name, of course. And then, of course, we can see the background, which is all light blue, which is very nice, of course. It's really helped to show the Furno Bike on the foreground. Plus, as you can see, it's really big. This side, right here. These details of the front wheel. On the side, nothing really interesting apart from the 1/1 scale of the Furno's head. And the other side aren't really that interesting because you don't see the bike, in fact, the motorcycle, so nothing really cool right here. And then, of course, the back of the box with the fight scene, the usual fight scene between Furno Bike and Von Nebula right here with his set numbers and his logo, as you can see. Then some gimmicks of the projectile right here. And of course, it shows you that you got, of course, the hero and the bike. So the two of them put apart. And I think that's all for the box, guys. Pretty nice with a cool background, but nothing really nothing really awesome. So the instruction booklet with the parts list, it's built in 35 steps. It shows you how to put Furno on his bike. And yes, the parts list right here, the Hero Factory ad with Preston Stormer and the Macro City map. Then some fight scene between William Furno, Preston Stormer, and Von Nebula. And another Hero Factory ad right here. And the win paid. But now I'm going to, of course, talk about the set itself, because of course it's the most interesting part. But first of all, of course, Furno, because you got one, you got the William Furno set also in this set, not only the full set we're going to set later on, because there is some difference between the canister set and this box set William Furno. So you recognize the same hero torso, nothing really new right here. You also have the same legs and arms, but this time in red, so it's a new color exclusive to this set, at least for now. Then the glitter and head, and also notice that we do not have the new legs mold, but rather than this, we got the old Toa Olda legs in Matter Red. So all of these parts are in Matter Red, and the hands are not really new because they were used before, of course, in William Furno, and also in Squad in the Bionicle sets. And now we're gonna put the armor. Then, excuse me. So the body armor, in fact, is actually the same as the Furno canister set right here, plus the little hero core right here. And finally, the mask or the head, which is exactly the same. So, of course, notice this little blue pins and axle, which will be useful to, of course, link Furno to his motorcycle. And then here's the canister version. So you can see the two of them. So as I said earlier, the main difference between these guys are, first of all, the legs and arms are now in Matter Red. Also, you do not have any leg armor, so it's kind of look like it's kind of look like empty. And also you don't have the new feet, and you just have in fact you just have to have other feet instead. And I think that's quite all for this comparison. So now for the main feature of this set, which is of course the bike itself. So here's just the frame. We're going to of course put the parts back later. So as you can see, the main color scheme will be black, orange, with some touch of new dark metal plus some gray and dark gray, just at least for this part of the wheels, excuse me. And well, here we go. It's the frame. It's mainly made of Technic beams and curved one and stuff like this. So nothing really impressive right here. It's your usual type of vehicle frame. Also notice the front part of the motorcycle is linked just thanks to 2 pins. So these pins will allow, of course, the front of the bike to move on the sides. Again, nothing really impressive right here. Then you have this part, which is of course for the hands of Furno, but this time it's not linked to the front part of the bike, so it's quite rare, I have to say. Then well, it's an easy way to link this part and not on this section. We're going to talk about little details later, but of course the main interesting aspect of this bike is the wheels, because they don't really seem to be linked to the Technic beam, because here is the center of the wheels, and of course you would suppose that this part will be right here on this pinhole, but instead it's kind of little higher than this part. So how it's made, it's really simple. In fact, it's thanks to this little T-shaped Technic beams, as you can see right here, which are used in fact. So this means these T parts are linked on this Technic beam, but then the wheels itself is linked on this part. So this is how it works, and it's pretty ingenious, I have to say. And I think that's quite all for all the frame and wheels, so nothing really interesting right here. We're gonna talk now about all the little, of course, specific parts I'm gonna put on this bike to have the finished product. First of all is the front part with a new color of the Baroque windscreen or head part right here in orange, so really nice to have all parts in a new color. Then you have also these 3 colors of the Baroque eyes, which were also featured in the water set. Also notice this 2 Metru legs armor, or yes, shoulder armor, in new dark metal, so new color. Again, you got 4 of them on the 2 sides, of course. And also notice this little part, Technic parts, which are in orange and can be useful for mockers. And of course, you've got these big wheels, which are quite nice, but were of course wheels before. Now we're gonna put this back part, which has the back lights, I think, or maybe just some reactors. Don't really know. Just notice that we're gonna have some orange Baroque eyes, so new color, and trans orange, of course. And then this reactor from 2008 in new dark metal, so it's quite nice. And then, of course, your usual Morito and dagger in orange, which was also with before in AK, so nothing new for this part. We're gonna link this part to this T section, like this, and looking pretty nice. Then the I do not have the name for this part, but we're gonna put this section, which is in fact the new photocam, not the new, but which was released before, of course, as a positive photocam arm. This time in a new recolored orange, so quite nice to use to the fuel vat. I'm gonna call this like that. Again, pretty nice with a little nice curve. And then we're gonna, of course, cover this part because it's really void, in fact, it's really empty. We're gonna cover this part with some big sections, which are made, in fact, of little wings in a new, in orange, so new color again for this set. Another color is, of course, the Tornex launcher in new silver again, plus this Zamosphere in red, but you can also get this part in some in Ikami Prince Zamor, for example, like the Yuki's one. And then also, again, a little reactors. Notice the little connector right here, which will be useful, which here is useful to link the launcher, but on the other side will be useful to put also the kickstand. Then notice this little A-shaped parts, which were released before in the Photocast sets, and we're gonna link this part right here. So there's 3 pinholes, just like that. And finally, to cover this last bit, we're gonna put this part, excuse me, which is a new, not really new, excuse me, new color, of course, which is new dark metal color, but of course on an old part because it was used before as untros blades. And we're gonna link this on these little parts. And now for the other side, it's quite the same, except as I said earlier, we're gonna put the kickstand right here, so mounted on a ball joint, and of course it will be useful to make the motorcycle stand still. Then the untros blade, and here we go, guys. We are done with the construction of this set. So I'm just going to do the turnaround of this nice motorcycle. And put the kickstand right here. And if you want a such comparison between his pilot Furno and the bike itself, here it is. I like that. And now for the articulation section, so of course on the bike there is absolutely no articulation apart from the front section which moves on the side, of course. And then also you have the little gimmicks with the little projectile which works pretty well, I have to say. And of course the kickstand which can move in this way to be held down and to make the motorcycle stand still. And then you've got Furno right here, which of course is an action figure, so of course is more articulated than a motorcycle. Is like, of course, because it's a, excuse me, this is a hero torso frame, we're gonna have 5 ball joints, so 2 ball joints per arms right here, which allow you a large range of movement, of course, no big problem at all. The same goes for the legs. Because it doesn't really have any leg armor this time, it can move fully on this side. And also, well, then the head, of course, which can kind of look a little down, up, and on the side without any problem. So, a pretty well articulated little action figure. Like this, you can see some interesting, nice pose. Even if it's not really as impressive as the canister version because he lacks kind of some leg armor, of course. And then I'm gonna just put, of course, Furno on his bike because this is one of the main gimmicks of this set also. So thanks to this little blue parts, we're gonna link this to the pinholes on the side of the bike. And then just putting up Furno on his bike, linking his hands, kind of course, to bend him to have him a nice pose, because if not, he's more like he's standing still on his motorcycle, and it's look quite well there, I have to say. So, yeah, more like a biker pose. And that's all, guys, I think. So, if you want to do such comparison with a Titan set, here it is with Von Nebula I've shown you earlier in this review, but this time to compare him to the motorcycle, right here. And now I think I can do the little sum up of this set, of course. And the review. So, what to say first of all on William Furno itself? So, as we have seen, it's a downgraded version of his canister counterpart. So, except for the new recolor of the arms, there was absolutely nothing really interesting with these characters apart from his articulation. And of course, it's nice if you don't own the canister set first to have still an action figure with your motorcycle. Even if personally, I would have preferred to have kind of a new rookie hero personally with, for example, white rookie armor and stuff like that. It would have been nice, I think. But well, it goes in this way, and it goes like this. And now for the back, of course, the main features. So first of all, the construction isn't really interesting because there are not really any interesting techniques in this build, because except for these wheel parts right here, which look pretty nice. There aren't really anything to brag about in this set, in the construction department, I have to say. So, I have to say, excuse me. So, yeah, so the construction isn't really that good. But apart from that, the overall design, of course, is really nice because, well, it's all, as you have seen, curved because they use tons of curved parts and it's really all smooth. So the design is really pretty interesting. There's no big holes because of the parts which quite do their job and fill the gaps of this set. So seriously, the construction isn't really that good, but the overall design is really well done. Plus, the color scheme is great with some light color with orange contrasting to the black color scheme. So really nice, big, brilliant stuff like this. So again, interesting overall design. Excuse me. And then in the part selection, also it's pretty great because you have tons of new dark silver recolors. So that's quite interesting because the dark silver is a quite useful colors for mockers. And then you also got all these new orange parts, which are also pretty interesting for mockers. So in terms of part selection and overall design, it's a pretty interesting set. And I think that's all for the the good parts. The drawbacks, there aren't any big drawback on this set, apart maybe from the fact that this part is not linked to the front side, which is quite of a, well, it's an easy way to link this part and not really well, not well done, but it could have been better done, I think, with little more details. And I think that's all, guys. So did I record this set? Well, if you like motorcycle and stuff like that, or just want to have some nice set to pose, or just to play with it, or just to have this parts, it could be an interesting set, I have to say, but seriously, it's not a must-buy set. It's not really a must-buy set, but if you like this motorcycles, stuff like that, vehicles, I think it can be a good option to buy this set, and not, for example, well, there aren't really any motorcycle in the new old bionicle vehicles, apart maybe from Sedok, but it was really kind of a weird one. The Caxium also, but again, a weird one. So this is really a classy one, and I think it might be interesting to get an eye. I don't think I can say this, but well, on this set, because it can be pretty nice to have one of this, except for, of course, Furno, which is not really that good, and of course playability, which is quite problematic because of course it's a motorcycle. But I think that's all. So hope you enjoyed this review. If you have any questions or comments about this review or this set, feel free to ask them. And well, that's all. So see you later for another Hero Factory video review. Bye bye.